Where are you?
This is Spark in the Dark, Eastertide. In the last episode, we talked about Eastertide as in this between season, this strange space after resurrection, where life does not always immediately become clear. And maybe many of us know that feeling. Sometimes resurrection is already present around us, but we do not recognize it yet. Today, we are going to talk more about recognizing God's voice in the midst of our brokenness and in the middle of our ordinary daily lives. We will reflect on the God who comes looking for us, the God who calls our name, the God who waits for us on the shore. So, let's begin. Hey everyone, welcome back to Spark in the Dark, Eastertide. I'm Rebecca, your host, and I'm so glad that you are here. Some of you may have wondering why I placed the quote about God looking for Adam at the beginning of this episode, and wondering what is that has to do with the Eastertide and the reflections that we are entering today. But did you know that there is a Christian tradition about Jesus meeting Adam as part of the Easter story? Lately, Eastertide has been bringing me back again to the stories surrounding the resurrection. Not only the joy of Easter morning, but the ache, the longing, the confusions, and the way Jesus keeps moving toward people in the middle of it all. And honestly, these stories have been comforting me too these days, because they have been reminding me that even in our exhaustions, in our numbness, in our ordinary routines and darkest places, God is still present. Still seeking, still calling, still waiting for us on the shore, and somehow that gives me hope. Mary Magdalene stood near the tomb weeping. The disciples returned to fishing. Both stories, if you notice, carry this deep ache, these disorientations, this longing. And yet, in both stories, Jesus comes toward them first. As I have been learning more about Eastertide, I came across an ancient Christian image called the harrowing of hell. And in this picture and in these traditions, it tells that Jesus descending into the deepest darkness and lifting humanity into life again. Somehow, this is stay with me. And it make me questions about what is that means that before resurrection's morning fully dawned, Jesus first entered in the deepest darkness looking for humanity. Maybe that's why the resurrection story feels so personal. Jesus is never distant. He seeks, he calls, he approaches. Before Mary recognizes Jesus, Jesus already recognized Mary. Before the disciples recognized Jesus on the shore, Jesus already prepared breakfast for them. Because sometimes we imagine that faith is mostly about us finding God. I love that. But Easter tells another story. It is God who comes looking for us. God who calls our name. God who waits for us on the shore. Mary stands in the garden, weeping until Jesus says her name. Mary. And suddenly, everything changed. Not because she understood everything, but because love recognized love. And maybe that is what Eastertide slowly awakens within us too. The realizations that we are not abandoned, that love still calls us by name. But honestly, noticing God in ordinary life is not always easy. There are so many distractions, so much brokenness, so much exhaustion. Sometimes I find myself asking God again and again, please pull me out once more. Pull me from my numbness, from my survival mode. And maybe that is why I keep returning to John 21. The disciples go back to fishing, back to the routine, back to survival, back to the only thing that they know how to do. And I think many of us do the same when we feel lost or empty. We often return to what is familiar. We keep busy, we work, we scroll, and we distract ourselves. And sometimes the deepest darkness in our lives, it doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it simply looks ordinary. An ordinary tiredness, an ordinary numbness, empty nets cast again and again into the dark. We know how that feels. And for some people, the darkness runs even deeper. Patterns we cannot escape, wounds we cannot heal on our own, places within ourselves that feel beyond our own strength to overcome. And yet, Eastertide reminds us that there is no darkness Christ is unwilling to enter. The same love that descended into the depth searching for humanity still come looking for us now. Not with condemnation, but with light, with presence. And then, in the middle of this ordinary exhaustion, there is suddenly a figure standing on the shore. A fire already burning, a voice calling through the morning mist. The disciples do not recognize him at first, but then something begins to feel familiar. The care, the provisions, the voice, and finally, someone whispers, "It is the Lord." Recognition awakens. The heart comes alive again. Maybe Eastertide is the season where we slowly awaken to realizations that love has been standing on the shore all along. I'll close today by sharing a Celtic prayer song I created for this Eastertide journey. May your heart slowly awaken to this love. God bless.
Deepest darkness, bring light to the hidden places within you. May the voice that called Mary by name awaken your heart again. May you recognize love waiting for you in ordinary mornings, in tired routines, in quiet moments by the shore. And when your nets feel empty, may you remember there is already a fire burning in the distance. You are not abandoned, you are seen, you are called, and you are deeply loved. May your heart slowly awaken to the presence that has been beside you